Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Dozens of law enforcement vehicles are headed to Sampson County, where Deputy Chris Johnson will be laid to rest. Deputy Johnson died in the line of duty on Tuesday. These are live pictures from Sky 5 right now along that route with how the community is honoring his memory.
Also, after weeks of turmoil over employee pay, Durham Public Schools is now searching for a new superintendent when discussions could begin about the hiring process.
And dry today, but here comes the next system that will bring us some rain starting tomorrow through the weekend. I'll show you the timeline and how much rain we'll see.
We take you back to those live pictures right now. You see the hearse right there, live pictures from Sky 5 of that procession where Harnett County Deputy Chris Johnson will be taken home. He died Tuesday when his car crossed the center line and collided with a tractor trailer. We'll bring you inside our WRAL studio now this afternoon. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. This morning, Governor Cooper ordered all U.S. and North Carolina state flags at state facilities to half staff until sunset tomorrow. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan is live in downtown Clinton, where the procession is passing right now. Chelsea.
Yeah, this just happened very quickly a few minutes ago. We're right here on downtown Clinton on Faison Street, and you can see just this is the last part of that convoy of around 50 law enforcement vehicles. This is all a processional for Deputy Chris Johnson. He was a Harnett County deputy that died earlier this week. This processional started from Betsy Johnson Hospital, and it is ending here at a funeral home, Crumpler Honeycutt Funeral Home on Fayetteville Street in Clinton. And we've seen a small gathering of community members here. Keith, if you want to pan to your left, you can see some of the folks coming out to support Deputy Johnson. He was from this area, very well known and loved in this community. And this is the end of the processional here. We know, of course, that Johnson was killed in a crash on Tuesday after he hit a tractor trailer on Duroch Road near Highway 210 in Harnett County. And we should mention he was with the Harnett County Sheriff's Office for about 16 months, but he was a long-standing member of the law enforcement community, previously working with the Sampson County Sheriff's Department for 16 years and the Dunn Police Department for 9 years. And we were just speaking with Sheriff Jimmy Thornton. He was out here paying his respects along with several other deputies from his department here in Sampson County. We should mention again, you're looking live at the end of the processional here for Deputy Chris Johnson. And we should mention that he will have a memorial service Tuesday at Central Baptist Church in Dunn. So, of course, we've been speaking to community members here that have lined the streets sparingly here in downtown Clinton, of course, paying their respects to Deputy Chris Johnson this morning.
A somber tribute to a protector of the community. Chelsea Donovan reporting live in downtown Clinton.
And I'm Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center. A fraud alert just in from the Wake County Sheriff's Office. We just received this a little while ago. They say that scammers are calling people in the community and impersonating police officers, sheriff's deputies, and even Sheriff Willie Rowe himself. Apparently, the scammers are demanding money. They'll call and say that the person has missed jury duty and they demand payment. And apparently, they try to intimidate people into paying. Wake County Sheriff's Office says they would never call and ask for money like that. If you get one of these calls, don't give the scammers any personal information. Hang up the phone immediately and then let the Wake County Sheriff's Office know that you got that call.
Brian, thanks for that update. Our weather pattern is changing from cool and dry to warm and wet. Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at when to expect some rain where you are.
This high pressure system has kept things nice and dry and cool for us the last few days. But here comes the system that's going to start changing all of that for us. We'll jump on in and take a look at futurecast for tomorrow. Today we'll see increasing clouds, but tomorrow morning as early as 4 or 5 a.m. there could be a few isolated showers that start to pop up across the area. You can see that between 5 and 8 a.m. mostly in our southern counties, but honestly we could have an isolated shower in any part of the viewing area during the morning commute or at any time during the day for that matter. There's lunchtime with a few showers down to the south. We continue with an isolated shower or two around 5 o'clock, another band during the evening up in our northern counties. None of this is going to be heavy. It's likely to be maybe around 1/10 of an inch, and there'll be plenty of people that don't see any of that. Saturday looks like it may be a little bit on the drier side, but we're looking at the potential for some rain, especially Sunday and Monday of this coming weekend. Our chance for rain tomorrow, just a 30% chance really across the board for for any part of the viewing area, but that's going to go up on Saturday night to around 60%. Sunday and Monday, we'll see rain on and off for a good bit of the day. The rain looks heaviest on Monday. So coming up in a few minutes, I'll walk you through Monday and I'll show you how much rain total we could see from Friday through Tuesday.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. We are following changes at the top of Durham Public Schools leadership after the superintendent resigned. Pascal Mubenga had been with the district since 2017, and several groups called on the school board not to fire him. He resigned, though, last night, effective immediately. WRAL's Monica Casey has been following this story. Monica, where does this leave Durham Public Schools now?
Deputy Superintendent Nicholas King will be taking over acting as superintendent until an interim can be named. Last night's meeting here was closed session, but the board has now released this 10-page report that shows us how we got here. We have seen protests, rallies, sick outs, and walk-ins for almost a month in Durham now. That report shows the true cost of the classified salary increases were not correctly shown to the school board. The CFO knew the raises could rise from $10 million to $20 million back in February of last year, but all of the budget documents only listed that $10 million number. The superintendent first knew of this in early November. WRAL's Lena Tillett spoke with him last night about his resignation.
Great leaders in our district. I'm going to go from central office. My deputy superintendent, assistant superintendent, directors, and principals at the school level. So these folks are really well equipped to be able to continue the work that I started with them. So no regret on my end, and I know the district is going to be in a good hand.
At tonight's meeting, the focus will be on what's next. The board has two options recommended from staff on how to pay the classified employees. Those employees have told WRAL they don't like either one. After more than an hour of public comment at the special meeting last Friday, the board voted to delay this decision until today. Now, for the district to keep paying classified staff at that rate that they were getting in October, November, December, and the early January paychecks, it would cost $9 million more than what was originally budgeted for these raises. Tonight's meeting starts at 5:30. Jeff?
A lot of movement within DPS. We'll see what comes out of tonight's meeting. Monica Casey live in Durham for us this noon. Thank you.
We want to take you back to downtown Clinton, where Sky 5 is showing the end of the procession for Deputy Chris Johnson. Right now, you can see some of the sheriff's deputies lining up there as they prepare to take the coffin of Deputy Johnson out of the hearse and take it into the funeral home. Our hearts and thoughts are with Deputy Johnson's family. He leaves behind a wife and 4 children. So many people speak so fondly of him, of his years of public service, not just with Harnett County, but also with Sampson County and the city of Dunn, a school resource officer. Those officers, his colleagues, paying respects to Deputy Chris Johnson right now. A man is dead after a shooting this morning in Durham. It happened just before 7 a.m. on Denfield Street. Police say they found the man dead at the scene. Investigators are trying to determine the circumstances that led to the shooting. The U.S. military confirms that 5 Marines on board a military helicopter that went down in a remote area of Southern California are dead. The Marines from Creech Air Force Base in Nevada were on a training mission. The military will release the names of the victims once their families are notified. Efforts are underway to recover their remains after the crash location was discovered in the mountains outside San Diego. The cause of the crash is not yet known.
And back here at the WRAL Live Center, Americans are back on the roads in amounts not seen since before the pandemic. New information from the U.S. Transportation Department says they traveled a record 3.2 trillion miles on U.S. roads in 2023, and that is above pre-COVID-19 levels for the first time. Of course, during those lockdowns, the amount of driving in the U.S. dropped sharply as people worked from home.
Speaking of roads, Brian, new at noon, a major Wake County road project is ready to roll thanks to new federal money. WRAL's Noah Klein is here to tell us about some of the upcoming relief people can expect on I-540.
Jeff, it's been planned for years, and now it looks like the final section here of the complete 540 project is ready to begin some construction. Here's a look at where it stands right now. You can see the phase of 55 near Apex, up in 40 by Garner. This morning, the U.S. Department of Transportation approved a $417 million loan for the state to complete that next phase. That second phase is going to build about 11 miles of 540 from I-440 in Garner up to Knightdale up in I-87. The completed Triangle Expressway will provide some new options to ease that congestion on southern and eastern Wake County.
These last 10 miles completes that new 70-mile long beltway. Game-changing is an overused phrase. You cannot overstate how important this is for eastern North Carolina, for central North Carolina, and the entire metropolitan triangle.
Let's talk timelines here. The current phase of 540 from Holly Springs to Garner is scheduled to open in the spring. Around that time, construction on phase 2 should begin. That'll be open to traffic in 2028. Jeff?
Bit by bit. Noah Klein putting it all together for us. Thank you.
That has been such a long time coming. The investigation into President Biden's handling of classified documents is complete. Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed special counsel Robert Hur to investigate the president after classified documents were found at an office Biden used after his vice presidency. Later, classified documents were found at Biden's home in Delaware. The White House is reviewing the documents for redactions before the full report is made public. The U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments today to determine whether former President Donald Trump can be excluded from the Colorado primary ballot for violating the 14th Amendment. In December, the Colorado Supreme Court ruled that Trump is disqualified from running for president because of his actions leading to the January 6th riot at the Capitol. The decision in today's case will have an impact beyond Colorado. Maine has also ruled the former president ineligible for its primary. A decision is expected in weeks.
And breaking in the WRAL Live Center, another story we are following this afternoon, the end of an era in downtown Cary. Ashworth Drugs is closed. This is the sign on the door at that pharmacy this morning, directing customers with prescriptions to go to Walgreens. That Ashworth Drugs location, one of the last places in the Triangle that had an old-fashioned soda fountain there, mainstay there right in the heart of downtown Cary, closing. It opened back in 1957, so some major changes there in downtown Cary.
I'll say an iconic landmark there. Brian, thanks. A deeply disturbing use for children's dolls. What law enforcement officers discovered inside them and the charges 5 people now face as a result.
Plus, the Downtown Raleigh Alliance released the first renderings for the future of Fayetteville Street. We'll share some of the key recommendations.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Welcome back to the WRAL Live Center. We've learned that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has agreed to testify before Congress about questions over that recent hospitalization. Austin's testimony is going to be before the House Armed Services Committee February 29th. It's a formal inquiry that comes after the Defense Secretary waited 3 days to inform the White House about his hospitalization resulting from complications due to prostate cancer surgery.
For the third time since December, a volcano in Iceland has erupted, pouring out lava and causing evacuations in that area. Iceland typically experiences an average of 1 eruption every 3 to 4 years. This latest event forced the evacuation of the Blue Lagoon Spa, one of the country's most well-known tourist attractions. Officials say no one was in the nearby town during the eruption, but the area might not be livable in the near future. Water containing radioactive substances has leaked from equipment at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. Workers there found water leaking from the outlet of a device used to purify contaminated water. The equipment was being inspected, and when it was being flushed out with the filtered water, 10 out of 16 valves that should have been closed were found to be open. The area where the leaks occurred is off limits, and a response plan is underway. 5 alleged members of an international drug trafficking ring face multiple counts, including possession with intent to distribute methamphetamine. And the photos provided by the Department of Justice showed drugs packed into dolls and hollowed out books. Law enforcement seized 91 packages of methamphetamine destined for foreign countries. The value of the drugs seized had an estimated value of more than $20 million.
A Rhode Island man jumped into action when he saw a child who wandered out of a window and ended up on the edge of a rooftop. The man's good deed caught on video. This is the dramatic video of the moments a toddler managed to climb out a window and onto that lower rooftop. The stranger jumped up there, quickly stepping up to help before the unthinkable happened.
Baby was really coming to the edge and going back, and you could see that the window was open. And the gentleman in the street was just trying to tell the baby to go back, go back, go back. And then the man just jumped into action. I don't know how we got up the side of the building. My son keeps saying he has to be Spider-Man.
Well, he's a hero. The toddler's mother says she left the window open overnight because it was hot. The Department of Children, Youth and Families was notified about the incident. No word yet on charges, but the child, thankfully, is physically unharmed because of that man.
A new satellite that will help scientists better understand Earth's oceans, atmosphere, and climate lifted off from Cape Canaveral this morning.
2, 1, booster ignition. Full power engines and liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Pace.
The mission is expected to shed light on how aerosols, clouds, as well as phytoplankton in the ocean serve as indicators for ocean health and global warming. Tuesday's scheduled launch was delayed twice due to bad weather conditions at the launch site. Speaking of studying oceans, astronomers have uncovered more evidence that one of Saturn's smallest moons is hiding an ocean beneath its icy surface. In 2014, European researchers determined either a rocky core or a subsurface ocean caused the moon's rotation and motion. Now researchers say the evolution of the moon's orbit suggests an internal ocean shaped its motion. Now, finding a source of water could help scientists search for life on other planets.
Absolutely fascinating, all the things that they're discovering out there. But down here on our planet, in our neck of the woods, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with these warmer temperatures as we head into the weekend.
We're going to see temperatures in the 60s and 70s this afternoon all the way up until, say, Tuesday of next week. But we're going to have some rain to go along with it. We take a live look at Goldsboro. You can definitely see some blue sky, but some cloud cover as well. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds. A lot of the clouds that we see this afternoon will be high, thin clouds. So a little bit of sunshine trying to peek through. It's 52 degrees right now. Our dew point's down at 30, so we still have a fairly dry air mass in place, and that will play into what happens tomorrow. It's likely to still be fairly dry as we see the rainfall developing, as we talked about at the beginning of the newscast. So I'm not expecting very much rain tomorrow, but it will be gray, and there'll be some sprinkles on and off. We'll hit 60 degrees for this afternoon. Right now, it is 52 in South Hill and in Durham, 52 in Goldsboro, 51 in Siler City. Our temperatures are fairly uniform. We're not seeing anything warming up really, really quickly. But again, we should make it to the 60s this afternoon. 50 in Sanford, 53 Fayetteville, 52 in Clinton right now. Looking at 60 in Raleigh, 59 in Durham, and 61 in Fayetteville for our high later on today. This high pressure system is going to help to change everything for us. We will watch it moving just to our south. With high pressure, we have winds that rotate clockwise. So this high has kept things dry, but it's also kept us in a northerly flow, which has been a fairly cool flow for us. What happens now is on the other side of that high, as it moves eastward, we're seeing warm air, and that starts to push in as we get into the afternoon. We're also over the top of this ridge starting to see some cloud cover. You can see some showers back to our west across parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. Some of that will start to come pushing into our area tomorrow. Watch as that high slips to the east. The arrows turn to red, so that's a that's showing that the warmth is going to be coming in behind that high pressure system. Our normal high is 54, and we're almost there right now. We should hit 60 this afternoon and 62 tomorrow. 74 on Saturday. We'll see Saturday's temperatures being a good bit warmer because we'll see the strongest flow coming out of the south on Saturday, and we'll also have the driest conditions probably on Saturday. A little light rain Friday, not looking at much rain Saturday, and then Sunday and Monday both look like they'll be fairly wet, so temperatures will be dropping back into the 60s. 33 is our normal low. We'll be warmer than that for tomorrow morning, and then in the 50s when we see the bulk of the rain. It's been really chilly in the mornings this week, but but now we're changing that pattern. So nothing that we see falling for the next few days is going to be anything frozen. But there might be another chance if you were hoping for snow. February 15th through the 21st, we have the potential for below normal temperatures. I wouldn't hold my breath for anything frozen, but at least winter is not quite over yet. It'll get cold again toward the middle of the month. Our precipitation chances, a 30% chance tomorrow. It's a 20 on Saturday, and then 80% on Sunday and Monday. Looking ahead beyond that for Valentine's Day, the middle of next week, it's looking nice and sunny, a high of 58 degrees, and it will finally be dry by that point. Sunday and Monday, we'll see the most significant rain. So coming up in a few minutes, we'll walk through and I'll show you how much total.
Elizabeth, thanks. Coming up on WRAL News at 5:30, packages stolen off a porch have become all too common, but it's what a thief used to steal from this Durham porch that surprised the homeowner. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur shows us and explains how to protect your next delivery.
And tonight at 6, putting school weapons detectors to the test. WRAL Investigates teams up with the local school system and sheriff to find out how accurate these high-tech systems are. Athletes who make history at the Paris Games will also take home a piece of France, the revolutionary design that sets this year's medals apart.
Lawmakers down under are taking a novel approach to establishing work-life balance. Why employees may soon be able to ignore calls and messages from their boss at the end of the workday.
It's 12:23 now. We're following breaking news here in the WRAL Live Center. A bad crash on I-40 westbound has closed that ramp at US 1 and 440 as you head away from South Raleigh into Cary. We're hearing that both lanes out there are blocked right now, and you can see some building delays. So you need to avoid that area if you can. We know that this is a crash with injuries. Sky 5 right now is on the way. Their ETA about 15 minutes. As soon as they get to the scene, we'll bring you those live pictures.
Meta is changing how images using artificial intelligence are displayed on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. The tech giant will start labeling the images with a note saying, "Imagined with AI." The move is an effort by Meta to increase transparency on images ahead of the November presidential election. Meta is also working with other companies on technical standards to better detect content generated by artificial intelligence.
The South Korean government and private companies are offering financial perks to encourage people to have more children. One construction firm announced plans to pay employees $75,000 each time they have a baby. The team will also pay a total of $5.25 million to employees who've had babies since 2021. This announcement comes as South Korea is experiencing the world's lowest fertility rate as of 2022. Data suggests the numbers could drop even more by 2025. Members of the Australian Senate passed a bill that would give workers the right to ignore calls and messages from their bosses outside of work hours. Some business leaders are slamming the right to disconnect bill, calling it an overreach. But many people say it's time to have an appropriate work-life balance. A recent survey found, on average, employees perform an extra 280 hours of unpaid work per year.
We'll talk about a monumental prize. This year's Olympic medals will contain an actual chunk of iron from the Eiffel Tower. The organizers of the Paris Games revealed their revolutionary design this morning. Each gold, silver, and bronze medal is shaped like a hexagon, which represents the shape of the country. The center of each medal contains a polished piece of iron from the iconic landmark. The iron was cut from girders and other bits that were swapped out of the Eiffel Tower during renovations and stored for safekeeping. Remember, WRAL is your trusted source for the Paris Olympics, which run July 26th through August 11th.
Change is on the horizon for downtown Raleigh's Fayetteville Street. We're live with our first look at the plans after the break.
Over the past decade, cursive writing was erased from school curriculums across the country, but now the basic practice is making a comeback. Why more states are requiring this type of writing. And here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
You're looking live at Fayetteville Street in downtown Raleigh. Within the last 2.5 hours, the Downtown Raleigh Alliance revealed the first recommendations on how to revitalize the capital city's Main Street. WRAL's Matt Tallhelm just talked with the president of that group about the plans. Matt, why the focus on Fayetteville Street?
Well, Renee, Fayetteville Street, this area really has struggled to recover with the loss of office workers during the pandemic, but it really creates this full boulevard. You have the historic state capitol up there. You also have some of the oldest buildings in the city, some of these from the 1800s here. Of course, without the office workers, you can see the streets here in the middle of the day really are kind of dead. This idea here, though, is to create a vibrant, lively area 7 days and nights a week. So take a look at some of the first renderings, some of the first vision that we're seeing here from the Downtown Raleigh Alliance. It shows a city plaza that's brighter, more vibrant, pedestrian friendly. There's also a design for a large North Carolina artwork that would be on the street. A consultant hired by the DRA has done 65 stakeholder interviews, and more than 200 people have participated over the last 6 months to come up with these 10 big ideas to revitalize Fayetteville Street. Among those, celebrating some of the black businesses that are down here, creating a family-friendly guide to some of the attractions, and also making this North Carolina's Main Street.
We have the Capitol, we have the state museums. This is the center of power in the state. How do we make this a celebration of that? Downtown Raleigh is already known for locally owned businesses. So from a tenanting perspective, let's celebrate North Carolina by bringing in North Carolina-based businesses.
Now, the study also recommends adding more trees, lighting, and space for outdoor dining. You can see, one of the restaurants right here at lunchtime has some tables out here, but there's also a lot of clutter on the sidewalks here. So this idea would try to clear some of that out, also string some lights up across the street here to make this more of a vibrant area. From here, the DRA will take these recommendations to the City Council on Tuesday, and they say you could actually start seeing some of the changes here by the end of this year.
Can't wait to see those ideas be implemented and see what it does for Fayetteville Street. Matt Tallhelm live in downtown Raleigh.
This afternoon, an attorney for a man charged with negligent child abuse in the death of his 9-year-old son is expected to appear in court on his client's behalf. 40-year-old Shashikant Tiwari is now facing charges 2 months after his wife Priyanka was charged with murdering their son in Morrisville. According to arrest warrants, the father willingly left his son in his wife's care, knowing she was in a state of mental decline. 2 people are dead after a fire at a home in Cumberland County. Crews responded to a home on Morrison Avenue in Spring Lake just before 11 last night. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was at that scene as they worked to fight the fire. We're working to find out the names of the people who died and the cause of that fire. The SBI and ATF are at that scene. They were overnight investigating.
We're asking questions about an active shooter alert for UNC Pembroke yesterday that some are calling a failure. Students say the Brave alert failed to give key information about the active shooter. Campus police responded to a shots fired call just before 5 yesterday evening near a university apartment complex. Police say they found shell casings at the scene and later found a gunshot victim off campus. That person was airlifted to a hospital and later died. The victim, we've learned, was a former student. Tonight, the city of Raleigh will host another forum to give people the chance to learn about plans for an alternative response program. The forum will start at 8 at Hayes Barton United Methodist Church. The new program would involve more social workers and peer support and help connect people with mental health professionals. Program leaders say it also reduces the stigma of police and helps to build community trust.
In a world where technology is everywhere, one academic trend is transporting students back to a simpler time. Christina Coleman takes a look at why cursive handwriting lessons are becoming all the rage.
We may be in the digital age where texting and typing reign supreme. But it's not stopping cursive from making a comeback with the younger generations, as a growing number of school districts across the country are stressing the importance of this old-fashioned skill.
A lot of my students will say, oh, it's too hard to write in cursive. And so we tell them, well, it's going to make you smarter. It's going to make some connections in your brain. And it's going to help you move to the next level. And then they get excited.
California recently became the latest state to require cursive handwriting lessons for elementary school students.
The hope of the legislation is that by the time students leave 6th grade, they would be able to read and write it.
Besides helping to improve fine motor skills, academic experts say teaching cursive to young kids can enhance their cognitive development.
You're using different neural networks when you're doing cursive rather than printing, and so it's creating those pathways in your brain. It also helps, I would say, with the retention of information, how letters are formed.
I love it.
Why?
Because I just feel like it's this fancier how to write, and it's just like fun to learn, like new letters.
It is fancier. That was Christina
Yes.
Coleman reporting. And because many historical documents have been written in cursive, supporters say being able to read them can also help students learn about the past so they can help create a better future.
And I always found it easier because your pencil doesn't have to lift off the page,
Right.
as you're printing. It's just all connected.
I agree with that. Not that I do it now, though.
Is it legible?
Right, chicken scratch. A Texas judge ruled last year against distribution of the abortion pill, mifepristone.
Now, a medical journal he cited has retracted studies he used. We'll tell you what was behind that retraction when we come back.
And later, new businesses are popping up all over North Carolina, but roughly half of all new businesses don't make it past the 5-year mark. We have a guest to talk about small businesses and how you can boost your odds of surviving in the long term.
Three studies on the abortion pill mifepristone have been retracted by an academic publisher who says the findings were faulty. A Texas judge who ruled to suspend federal approval of mifepristone last year cited 2 of those studies. The publisher says the findings were based on unreliable data and that there were conflicts of interest between the researchers and the anti-abortion movement. The U.S. Supreme Court is expected to hear arguments on mifepristone next month. 10 to 20% of kids in the U.S. who are diagnosed with COVID-19 also developed long COVID. The CDC puts the prevalence of long COVID in children at just 1%. The children in the study had more severe cases of the infection and therefore more risk of lingering symptoms or new complications. Fatigue, brain fog, and headaches are among the most frequently reported symptoms of long COVID in children. Experts say most symptoms improve within a year.
The White House is teaming up with all major sports leagues around the country to encourage healthy lifestyles. The partnership is part of a White House challenge to end hunger and increase healthy eating and physical activity by 2030. 14 sports leagues and players' associations have signed agreements with the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. More partnerships and commitments are expected in the next few weeks. If food is your love language, Open Table has recommendations for the most romantic restaurants around the country. It analyzes customer reviews and other metrics, including the number of times a restaurant is tagged as romantic. California has the most places on the list with 12. North Carolina has 5 great places to dine that are considered perfect for Valentine's Day.
And a quick update here from the WRAL Live Center. Sky 5 now over the scene of that earlier crash on 40 westbound at US 1 between Raleigh and Cary. It has mostly cleared now. There's still some activity on the right shoulder there, but traffic, you see, is flowing freely in that area. Just wanted to come on the air and let you know that traffic was back to normal. Stay with us because Elizabeth Gardner has a look at your weekend forecast coming up.
Welcome back. Since 2020, North Carolina has seen a near record number of new business starts, with over 15,000 already formed in January of this year. Sadly, 50% of small businesses don't even make it to the 5-year mark. Cherith Robertson, founder of a small business herself, Flourish and Growth LLC, joins me now to talk about how to help small business owners achieve success. First of all, that statistic. Half the small businesses that start up don't even make it to the 5 years. What are some of the reasons for that?
Yeah, a lot of people starting a business, they're doing it for the first time, and they may have never been exposed to entrepreneurship or seen someone else start a business. So they're starting from scratch. They don't know what to do next. They get stuck. And sometimes making 2 or 3 mistakes in your business makes it really hard to recover and then actually build a sustainable business that's making money, paying you, and paying your community or paying your employees.
And your background, you've worked with small businesses through Wake Tech, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen a lot of these mistakes made. And now you're putting some of those insights in how to help small business owners achieve success in this new planner.
Yes.
Walk us through this.
Thank you. So I had the chance to work with thousands of small business owners when I ran the Small Business Center at Wake Tech, and what I found is that they have the same questions and concerns over and over again as they build their business. So what I did is I took what are those questions and concerns and challenges, and I created a step-by-step guide that is a simple process. It's full of templates so that they can say, it takes the guesswork out of building a business, and so that they can take the actionable items and apply them to their business.
I mean, everyone's journey is different, but in a way, this is a blueprint. There is a blueprint for success for small businesses.
That's right. Yes, and they can apply it to their business as they go. So there are a lot of books out there that might say, here's how to start a business. But we go from theory to action. So we say, here's how to do it. Now here's how you apply it for your business. And by the way, here are examples of other small businesses that have done it and done it well.
Why did you feel that it was important to offer these insights, these secrets to success, so to speak?
Yeah, so working with small businesses, first of all, they make our communities vibrant, right? And a lot of times I've talked to experts and said, I wish I just had you over my shoulder telling me how to do things as I go. And so I was working with small business owners and I said, you know, I have the expertise, I can provide this roadmap, so now's the time. I saw that there was an opportunity and decided to create this product.
So this is the Guided Small Business Planner, and if you're like me, I'm a big planner person, like just physically it has the dividers and all the different sections. Where can people get this?
They can find it at our website at flourishinggrowth.com, and also follow us on social media.
What would you say is the one takeaway for small business owners if people have that germ, that seed of an idea, and they want to execute it? What's the first big step they should take?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd say the first big step would be to sit down with someone who has done it before and just start to understand the process. Know that it is a journey and it takes time, but when it's done well, it's great.
And here's a blueprint to help you do it well and get you started on that journey.
That's right.
Cherith Robertson, thank you so much with Flourish in Growth. We appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
Elizabeth and Jeff.
Yeah, thank you both. And planning ahead, weather-wise, that's what we do every single day. And here we are planning. I mean, want it to be the weekend, it's not. But we're getting there, right?
We were just wondering, is it Friday? Because,
Yeah.
it kind of feels like Friday. We'll know when Friday gets here. It's going to be warmer, but it's also going to be wetter. And so that's, a little disappointing for folks that wanted to be out and about. We take a live look at Goldsboro, Apex, and Chapel Hill. And you can see there, the sky is starting to cloud up a little bit. That's ahead of our next system that's going to bring us just a little bit of light rain on Friday and Saturday, but then more steady rain on Sunday and the heaviest rain on Monday. So this is going to be with us for a while. Chapel Hill is courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. And of course, that was our newsroom there in Fayetteville. This is a look at the big picture, and high pressure has been with us. We're seeing some cloud cover now starting to stream in. Our winds are beginning to shift to southerly. That's going to gradually start to warm us up. You'll notice a difference tomorrow morning. We were solidly in the 20s this morning. Tomorrow morning we'll be in the low 40s. This system is going to come through, already starting to pick up some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico streaming on in. Let's walk through the day tomorrow. 5 a.m. it will be cloudy, and there'll begin to be a few isolated showers. It looks like at the beginning, like during the morning commute, that most of it's from the Triangle area southward, but I can't promise that you wouldn't see an isolated shower up near the Virginia line as well. We're just going to see this kind of coming and going through the day tomorrow, not really more likely in the morning or in the afternoon, but there is a slightly more put together band, I guess, during the evening in our northern counties, possibly. It looks like we get a little bit of a break. Now we'll have some cloud cover Saturday, but it looks like it's going to stay fairly dry for us Saturday until we get to the evening, and then we'll begin to see the rain moving back in. Let's start again Friday at about 10 o'clock, and we take it into Saturday. It looks fairly dry for us on Saturday. Up near the Virginia line, there's some rain, but for the most part, I think we're dry. Now, Sunday morning at 6 a.m., it will likely be raining. The cold front will slide through on Sunday, so that's going to bring us some steadier rain. That'll be with us up until probably Super Bowl time from Raleigh northward. If you're down in Fayetteville or Clinton, your Super Bowl party, might be a little wet. You're probably going to be inside anyway, but it looks like we could see some evening showers. And then Monday, it lifts back up across us with a different low, and that's going to bring us more rain on Monday, and that's when we'll see the heaviest rain. Gradually, it moves on out late Monday night into early Tuesday. It turns to snow back in the mountains, so we'll see some cooler temperatures starting to work back in by the time we get to Tuesday. How much rain are we talking about? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday total, it's likely to be half an inch to an inch, but then on Monday, when we see the heavier rain, we'll likely add a whole nother inch. So all total, by the time this is over, probably about an inch and a half from the Triangle area northward, and maybe an inch and a half to 2 inches in our southern counties. Super Bowl forecast, out in Las Vegas, I was surprised at how cool it's going to be. The high temperature, just 53 degrees, but they'll see some sunshine. Of course, they are inside the Las Vegas Dome. And for us on Sunday, of course, we're going to see rain on and off. Our temperatures will be in the low 60s right around game time. Monday, we're looking at mid 60s even with the rain, but then Tuesday we begin to clear out and we'll start to see temperatures falling. Right now, Wednesday looks nice and dry, but it will be cooler with a high of 58 for Valentine's Day.
Countdown is on to Super Bowl 58. Coming up, how some young Chiefs fans are showing their team spirit.
I love the stash. Here are your winning Powerball numbers. We'll be right back. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today.
The body of Harnett County Deputy Chris Johnson, who was killed in a crash Tuesday, was escorted to a funeral home in Clinton today. More than 50 law enforcement vehicles left Betsy Johnson Hospital in Dunn around 11 a.m. A funeral service for Johnson will be held Tuesday.
A man is dead after a shooting this morning in Durham. It happened just before 7 a.m. on Denfield Street. Police say they found the man dead at the scene. Investigators are trying to determine the circumstances that led to the shooting.
Durham Public Schools Superintendent Pascal Mubenga has resigned. Mubenga says he and the board mutually came to the decision for him to step down. Tonight, the school board will meet to discuss the ongoing employee pay dispute. Super Bowl 58 is just days away, and for a few seconds, all eyes will be on one coin. Highland Mint in Florida has been producing the official NFL Super Bowl flip coin for 31 years. Each coin is numbered 001 and will be used to decide who kicks off, who receives, and who, if there's overtime, the teams will use that coin 000 for that one. The heads up side features the Super Bowl logo. Tails features the two teams. Highland Mint produced 10,000 coins. 100 were sent to the NFL, and the rest are up for sale.
The winner of the Super Bowl will walk away with a huge piece of bling from Tiffany. We're talking about the Vince Lombardi Trophy, of course.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Vince Lombardi Trophy.
FedEx delivered the trophy to Las Vegas Wednesday. Three-time Super Bowl champion Jerry Rice carried the trophy from the truck to its place inside the Super Bowl experience, where it will remain on display through Saturday. Tiffany & Company custom designs the Lombardi Trophy every year for the National Football League.
And excitement is building for the big game. So 2 schools in Missouri decided to hold a Chiefs Spirit Day Wednesday, and students got to dress up as well-known stars from their team. Many chose to dress up as Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, but head coach Andy Reid, all the lookalikes, they stole the show there. Each student had different interpretations of the Andy look. They all had one thing in common, though. Check it out. The stash. Got to be there.
I used a stencil and felt to cut it out.
I got some hairspray, got it a bit white, and that's how I got it.
My mom put makeup on it. I like it, but it itches a lot.
Really, really itchy.
Itchy, and it doesn't stick very well.
Most of them have the headset too, and then that look, The celebration landed on the 100th day of school. That's usually when students dress up like they are 100 years old.
But did any have icicles on their mustache? Our pet of the day from SPCA of Wake County is friendly and affectionate. This is Giselle, a 3-year-old spayed female cat, preferring the company of humans to other cats, so she would love a home where she can be your one and only. If you want to make Giselle yours, contact SPCA of Wake County. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.